Why? Hello. Hi. Welcome. Happy Friday and happy winter. Welcome back to the trading desk with me, Joshua Thanos, and my hairdresser, Jason Main. What's up, man?
Everything's good. How about you guys?
Doing
Great, man. It's getting old.
Is it? All right.
Nice shirt.
We can find a better
It's a very
co-host.
loud shirt.
Yeah, it is. Well, you know what?
Fitting of the individual wearing it.
Yeah, that's right, baby. If you guys haven't noticed, I got a Chiefs shirt on. You know why? Because it's football playoff time. You know what do we say? F Tom Brady.
Pats
Go
are going
Chiefs. That's right.
down. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I want to give a special shout out to a viewer of the show and also a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, Mitchell Schwartz. Thanks, man. Thanks for watching. We appreciate your viewership. And please, well, you're not going to sack Tom Brady because you're on offensive line, but let's get a few sacks on Tom Brady.
Maybe a couple pay off some bounties.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we can.
Whatever, do whatever you got to do,
Little
man.
head hunting,
Oh,
you know?
hold on, let's get in the chat box. Hey guys, so it's great to be back. I wasn't here last week, was I?
Nope. I was here with Sequan. Or no, that was the week before. I think Sequan did Friday by himself.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I
Cool,
don't know.
man.
I was in Florida.
Yeah,
Not
keep it
worried
warm.
about
That's
the
right.
show.
You were with me in Florida.
Yeah.
That's right, guys. That's where I'll be tomorrow.
Nah, we can't cancel your flight. Snow.
Whatever.
Anyways, thanks for logging on another Friday. I think we're going to talk about something small that happened in the industry.
What's that?
It's called SIHH.
Oh yeah, man. Things
so
are all very different.
Tons of stuff on the show today.
I love that they have a watch trade show in the very beginning of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Basel's went in March, right?
Right.
But I like that. New year, let's go hard.
Well, it's really that's not gonna happen anymore. The shows are gonna be
together. Well, next
at the
year,
same time.
but this year it's Basel's
right.
in March still, right?
So this is the
Am I
last
wrong
year
about
of mid-year. So no, not mid-year. Sorry.
March.
March. Yeah.
Yeah. That's when we find out what happens with Rolex.
All the Rolex.
Really, the most important thing that to happen in the watch world is what happens with the Rolex.
Hopefully, some new Tudor stuff. Gonna go ahead and pull for the green Pelagos since I didn't get a green PAM 24.
Not yet. Yeah, it's very
SIHH,
upsetting.
So,
but there's some cool new
all
Panerais.
titanium Pelagos and green. Let's do that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Jason.
Anyways,
let's do what we normally do, which is wrist checks. Let's check your wrist, Jason. You got something. You got a gold Rolex on, don't you?
No, sir.
Oh God. There you go.
Yeah, a little bit of blue. Hopefully, you guys.
You got a Seiko on you, dweeb.
Yeah, so that's the Patty Diver.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is a weekend watch. Gonna just enjoy this. So day date, my only day date watch. It's been a great piece. Gotta love the turtle case.
That's your only day date watch?
Yeah, only day date. Great, fantastic weekend watch. Water resistant, obviously very durable, like most Seikos. But this particular Patty comes on a bracelet and was very promptly taken off the bracelet and hasn't seen the bracelet since.
I don't like the bracelet on the Patty.
But it has a rubber strap for it too, and then this NATO that I put on it works, and was wearing blue today. Headed into the weekend, figured throw something different that's not the Rolex on for you guys, because been wearing that Rolex for like the last
you haven't taken it off
3 months straight.
You're wearing that in Miami, in the ocean, in the nightclubs and strip clubs.
It is a Submariner, sir.
That's right. And
it's supposed to marine under the sub.
That's a cool watch. The rubber strap is fantastic. Is it the same one that I have on my my Ninja Turtle?
Yes.
Cool. That's great. That's the best way to wear that watch. So, all right. And here's something that hasn't been out of the watch box in quite some time, but now the watch box is in Florida. I have to pick ahead of time what watches I want to bring to Philadelphia. Let's go ahead and get a little wrist check there.
Well, it's a fantastic travel watch too.
Yeah, it is. It's really the ultimate pilot's watch. So this is the Breitling Aerospace Advantage 42 millimeters discontinued. White dial is somewhat tougher to get than like the blue or the darker.
Super rare.
So rare. Just really couldn't be more rare. Titanium. And this watch does about everything, including, it's a minute repeater. Jason, do you have a minute repeater?
I don't.
You don't have one, do you?
I do know that that's your only minute repeater.
That is my only minute repeater.
So
this also, date 8, by the way, and you see that's the function that I like to keep it on. So I see it's FR for Friday, 18 for the 18th of the month.
Well, your watch is set correctly, sir.
That's right, man. And so I like it a lot. Have it on that's a stainless steel clasp. Beat the hell, man. I need to probably update these. The rubber strap's starting to get little dried out because I wear this in the ocean.
Another color now, maybe?
No, probably keep it blue. I like this configuration.
Blue
I
goes
haven't
good
been
with
wearing
the
this
bow.
enough. But now that I've been traveling, those who don't know, I spend my weekends in South Florida now, which is
A
nice
little bit
because
more permanently than before.
yeah, man. Well, it snowed yesterday here, which is very upsetting to all involved, right?
What's fantastic is when you get off a plane, you leave and it's 70 degrees, right?
Mm-hmm.
You ahead of time roll up a sweater and put it on your carry-on because
Yeah.
you know when you get off the plane and it's 30 degrees here, you're wondering what you did.
Yeah, the Northeast, man, is kind of a nightmare during the winter.
But that's
But
our problem, not yours.
That's right.
We're not
unless you live
supposed to
up there.
make our problems their problems.
Yeah, let's not do that. All right, so that's wrist shots, and today we got a lot of stuff to cover, so we're going to skip this or that, unfortunately. So if you guys are upset about that, Jason cares. I don't. All right, so let's get right into it. So today we want to talk about a lot of new watches that came out at SIHH. A lot of brands made noise. Some brands didn't. Let's start with the best watch of SIHH. The best watch of SIHH this year was, we got a picture of it. Let's throw it up on the screen, guys. The first watch that we want to talk about. Boom! There you
Look
go.
at that.
Moser, they win. That is the Moser edition of the Apple Watch. This is a tourbillon minute repeater with no hands. So the only way to tell time is to hear it, and it's incredibly tough to set this watch as well. From what I understand, is you have to depress the plunger for the minute repeater, and then when you get to the hour, you have to pull the crown out on time.
There's like special markers.
That's right, on the
special
crown.
marking on the crown that tell you what you're doing. The only way that this could get better, and when I first saw this picture, is I was like, did they completely find a way to make the Apple Watch work while having a tourbillon in it?
Well, that'll be the next step.
Like the screen's all black. I'm like, oh, it's gotta turn on like an Apple Watch.
So
it's so cool for a couple different reasons, and one of them is it's just a giant middle finger. It's
Right.
like it's the ultimate luxury complication that you don't really need a tourbillon.
right,
Arguably doesn't really make a difference.
meaningless.
Right. So
Unless it's vertical.
at that point, well, FP. So at that point, you're buying a complication that's like the ultimate luxury complication because it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're buying a watch that doesn't even have freaking hands on it.
There's no way to read it.
There's no way to tell the time.
How do you tell time in
So
a
it's just a
in a movie
giant
theater with that, Jason?
It's just a giant waste of wrist space, and there's nothing more luxurious than saying, I don't really need this, but
Right.
I like it.
Well, so Moser has the best the best sense of humor in Switzerland by far. They love
Yeah.
attacking other brands, ones who take themselves too seriously.
Right.
And for that, I love them. They made the Make Swiss Great Again hat, which I wore on camera with Tim and literally got handwritten hate mail from anti-Donald folks who couldn't read very well, unfortunately. So, but again, Moser, you win the My Award, the Desky of 2019 for making this watch, which is ridiculous.
You're making pre-Desky nominations?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
No, I decide who wins in the Deskies, by the way.
Okay.
So this is the winner of the SIHH Desky Award. All right,
Which is
so
not a
there
real
you go.
thing, but congratulations.
So anybody who can afford that watch, anyone who buys that watch, I want to talk to you because I think I would get along with you pretty well.
But do you, though?
I don't know.
Like,
I probably can't speak your
I
language.
want to talk
honestly.
to you if you bought it for the reason that we think it's cool. But if you bought it for the other reason...
What
then-
other reason could there be to
just
buy that
imagine what somebody could justify buying that watch for.
watch? I don't know, man. To be honest with you, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the show, I think the same person who buys that watch also buys the Richard Mille new candy watches, and that means you have more money than you know what to do with,
Unlimited
but also
funds,
an
yes.
amazing sense of humor. So I bet you're tons of fun. There might be some fun to be had on a yacht with that gentleman.
Guess it depends on what kind of fun you're into. I
Well.
prefer the company of women, but hey, man, whatever.
Hey, you know what, Jason? First of all, your hate does not have
not
a home
hate.
here.
I support you. You're my friend.
I appreciate that. We are friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm really. Come on. All right. So, but let's get back to the real world and get to some watches that are actually very impressive and that you actually might see out in the wild.
Yeah, these are pretty cool.
That's right. So JLC had a pretty nice showing. They did some really cool things. So right now on the screen, what you're seeing, Jason, is the new enamel dials for with the Master Moon, the Master Perpetual, and the Master Tourbillon, which are all absolutely amazingly gorgeous. Yeah. What do you think, Jay?
So when we did the pre-show, Sequan and myself, I believe he picked this piece, the Master Moon, and for me, the pre-show pictures didn't do this watch justice. It looked a little stale. The enamel dial in these photos and some of the photos that I've seen since have really, I mean, you can see it just pops off, off the dial, and I'm really excited to see these in person. We probably won't see, the Tourbillon or...
The Tourbillon, I think, is out of 50, and these are all white gold, I believe. So the Tourbillon's out of 50, and then the Perpetual and the Master Moon are both out of 100. So they're special editions, I think boutique only. I'd say that there's a pretty good chance that next 12 months we'll get at least one of these in our inventory.
The Tourbillon, I don't think so much, but we'll probably see the Moon and the calendar. I like the watch. Again, gonna have to see it in person, but I like it better than I did last week. So
yeah, it's great. And then, these watches stole the show in terms of the wow factor. But what they did is they redesigned the Master Ultra Thin date, right?
Right. Which,
by the way, everything we're talking about here, Tim has done hands-on reviews from Switzerland in real time, and they are by far the best reviews that you can get for SIHH. Tim literally snatches a watch out of someone's hand, turns on his cell phone, and does a 3 to 5 minute review of it right then and there. Right. And no one's doing a better job. And he's not editing.
It's right off the cuff. It's fun because you sometimes when things get a little stale, like you don't get the excitement from Tim necessarily. Like you can tell he's genuinely excited to be there. Like when he puts hands on something new, there's a something in his voice, and you can judge how much he likes something for himself. Right. We all know how much he likes JLC. So the videos on these particular pieces and the new redesign of the date is pretty cool, and that watch is pretty clean.
Yeah, no, that watch is fantastic, and that makes me want to buy a dress watch, which I don't own. I don't think you have one either, do you?
I don't really. I mean, I might need to buy a dress watch and a suit because I don't really dress up anymore. But
seriously, but you know who's really good at pretending he likes things is Tim. Tim's fantastic. You guys won't be able to tell. We can because we know him pretty well. You can tell when he's pretending if he likes it or not. But he's good at feigning enthusiasm and he's fantastic with coming up with amazing adjectives that on the fly,
and never uses the same one twice,
and never none of that stuff. Yeah. Not like us. No. But so check out the reviews on a lot of those watches that we're talking about, hands-on from Tim. That's how, for the most part, that's how I learned about all these watches, and they're fantastic. So you got 3 new wow watches, somewhat unattainable because they're very limited. And cost prohibited. I think I have the prices here. So the Moon phase is a $35,800 retail. The Perpetual is a $55,000 retail, and the Tourbillon's an $88,500. Which, I mean, so JLC makes some really fantastic watches. These are, in terms of what you're getting for the money, they're actually pretty affordable. Like a Tourbillon from a smaller independent brand like this. So this exact watch, that Tourbillon, would be $140,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to like Tourbillons, 10 years ago? Yeah, they were all $200,000. Yeah, like you couldn't get a Tourbillon for less than that, and then so obviously different than some of the older Tourbillons.
Well, the new Journe Tourbillon's $240,000, I think. Yeah, the vertical Tourbillon, which is basically reinvented the entire idea of a Tourbillon, but vertical.
Literally turned it on its head.
Well, the watch is thick though because the Tourbillon is. But it's that watch is gonna be fantastic. We've already had people banging down our doors for that. So, I mean, all those guys who have $240,000 to spend, man.
Yeah, it's gonna go over retail.
Probably, maybe, I don't know.
Not well.
It's like a Richard Mille. All right, so JLC had some really cool showings at SIHH.
That's 3 of them on the screen. We talked about a 4th. They had a really good show. I think they probably had one of the best. Product releases because they had so many nice pieces.
They needed it, right?
I think they did, and I'm kind of hopeful to see where, it's a good direction forward. So we'll see where they land. But so far, people seem to be pretty excited for those pieces.
Yeah, I mean, again, like the brand was getting a little stale after the Polaris releases, which, I mean, if you watch the Deskies, kind of duds. So they definitely needed a little kickstart. So hopefully that these watches that come back to their core, because when you think the watch that really defined JLC is probably the ultra thin Perpetual, right? I mean,
for an everyday watch, I would say so. Yeah.
like if you think of JLC, what is something that they do better than anyone else? It's probably that ultra thin Perpetual. Again, I mean, it's also been in movies.
I mean,
and
for me,
also,
it's the Reverso, but it's quintessential JSC. But
I guess, but the Reverso doesn't have mass appeal the way that the like an ultra thin does. The ultra thin, people who are not watch guys will like that watch, whereas like a lot of watch people don't like Reversos because the square watch, it's a weird case, it's has a weird mechanism, and I don't know. So it's I think that the ultra thin is really kind of the quintessential JLC case.
I can see the argument.
So what they did was when they came back to these watches and they redesigned the date, and then what they did with these watches, which is whenever they do like these special editions, is really just trying to get people excited. People who aren't necessarily going to buy the watch, but get them excited about the brand, which I think this probably works. I mean, you guys will tell us how you feel. In the chat box, are people cursing us?
Yeah, no, not cursing us.
Somebody just said something about IWC, which we will not be talking about today.
Yeah, to be honest, some of the IWCs were. If you watch the show I did with Q, my top pick was one of the IWCs, but that was kind of like the only one that I liked. The rest of them, I think, failed the mark. I don't quite get bronze on a pilot watch. It's weird to me. Like, I don't know.
Well, bronze with green dials, man.
Well, I like green, don't get me wrong.
New concept.
And bronze and green, I've been done before. But bronze on a pilot watch, I feel like the Mark 18 bronze is going directly after the bronze Tudor. And, like, how are you going to put bronze pilot watch against bronze dive watch? I don't see the correlation. But I'm sure people will jump all over that watch. It's going to be a relatively affordable price point for what it is. And it'll probably sell out. So, anyways.
Yeah. I guess we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, all right. So JLC had a good showing. We'd say,
2 thumbs up.
Yeah, we are bullish on JLC moving forward. Hopefully this year. All right. The next. What's the next one, Jay?
Josh
buddy.
Put his pre-order in on all 3 of these watches because he's going to own every single one.
No, I will not.
But but pretty cool. We're excited.
What
At
brand
least
is
I
it?
am. It's Cartier.
That's right, Cartier Santos.
Chronograph.
They made a chrono, and not only is it a chrono, it's not a mono pusher, but
It's not. It looks like one.
it looks like one.
It's probably cooler than a mono pusher.
It's
in my
fantastic.
opinion.
So people don't really, when they think about Cartier, they think of usually jewelry, and that's why Cartier gets a lot of hate. Or Cartier and Rolex, say 30 years ago, were probably on par with each other in terms of saleability. Now that people, watch, the watch world has expanded greatly, and social media and all these things, Cartier gets a lot of hate. Well, so obviously I like the Cartier Santos, the new redesign. I own one personally. I really like it. They came out with a new watch, this chrono. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I love that. So, what I want to talk about before is that Cartier actually has like a high horology division where they make the CPCs, right?
Right.
So they all have like some really interesting, highly finished movements, really cool complications. They have mono pusher chronos, which I'm very partial to.
Yeah, I like
so they
monos.
took like a page out of that book and made an everyday chrono that doesn't have the extra pushers, which is fantastic. So this watch is really awesome. Tim has a review on these as well. What I didn't see, which I hope to see, is an all stainless version. I also saw some prices that I wasn't sure. These watches are not on Cartier's website yet, so I don't have real pricing. I read somewhere that the minimum pricing for one of these, which I assume is like the PVD or the DLC coated bezel version, was $24,000. If that's the case, that's a massive mistake. I can't imagine that's the case.
No, yeah.
I saw a price
maybe
range
for the all gold piece. That might have been what, I don't know. That seems excessive.
It's absurd. So I have to.
Let's hope that's not the case. But
I can't imagine that.
Overall, I like the aesthetic of it. I think the start-stop actuating pusher on that side of the case, it fits really well.
Right.
When I heard that there may be a chronograph of this coming, I was hoping it wasn't going to be the crown guards because it would have made the watch look weird.
Oh god, it's terrible.
But I think this is a nice solution. The dial's clean. I like the date the 6. I think the layout overall on the watch is nice. I agree. I would have liked to seen a steel version. And I think coming out of the box with loom on the dial, which the other generation doesn't, and having a deployment buckle on the straps that's not that fold clasp.
Right. Well, the tension.
Yeah.
So
then you also have it retains the quick change straps, right?
Yeah.
The same one that yours has.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So so just to be clear, the the start and stop pusher is on the opposite side of the crown, and then the reset pusher is the actual crown. I think it's the cabochon. They said that you press that in.
Right.
I'll have to see that in person. Tim has a video on it, like I said. So far we're seeing art. We see the two-tone version on the bracelet. In the middle, what you're seeing is a steel with a DLC coated bezel, and I was reading. It looks like they have a full DLC bracelet, and then also they have a rubber strap that's embossed to look like the bracelet as well. So I don't know which version they're showing there because it looked the same from that angle. And then they have the all rose gold, which is, I think it's beautiful. So it's absolutely gorgeous.
I saw a side shot of that watch from a video, I think, and it looks like that's the rubber strap, and it has the screws screwed straight into the rubber, and then it's kind of like like the accordion strap from a Panerai has the bellows in it. So
that's what it looks like.
It looks comfortable. I could take or leave the screws in the strap. I know it's like iconic Cartier look, but you got screws all over the bezel. But overall, I think it's a nice piece.
It's a great reinvent.
We'll see what the price range actually is. I would have liked to have seen the bezel ceramic, but
sure. That would hold up better because that's one of the really only complaints I have is that the polished bezel gets some love on it. I mean, you guys have seen mine. I don't know if you have or not. Maybe I'll wear it next time. I've already loved mine.
Yeah.
So some things that might give me some hesitation about the watch. Now it's a 43 millimeter, which I guess they just really couldn't help themselves, but going back to a little bit larger watch because the old Cartier Santos were almost unwearable, the XLs. So it's a 43, though the proportions look fine. It looks like it still should wear relatively reasonably on your wrist. It's also thicker. I think I read it was like 12 millimeters thick, something like that. Like you said, lume on the dial, which is fantastic. It's supposed to be a pilot's watch. You need lume for a pilot's watch. Tool watches have to have lume.
Sure.
Right? Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, while these of course in rose gold on a leather strap is not going to be a true tool watch, but it is a chronograph and it's based off a tool watch, so it has to have lume.
Yeah.
So I really like these watches. I'm very excited to see them in person. Hopefully Cartier sends them to us soon, and hopefully they release a full stainless version that I would enjoy myself.
Yeah. I hope to see different dial colors in this too. Probably second generation of the Chrono release.
You have to imagine,
but we'll see. That all rose gold Chrono's begging for a brown dial.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Oh god, that would be amazing, dude. Because they have all the straps. So, and then like you said as well, they have a new style clasp. It looks like it's not a fold over. It's a push button. So like akin to like I guess how Hublot works, where you're gonna have a.
Sorry to interrupt. JBO Surf. I'm gonna go ahead and take loyal viewer and commenter. I'm gonna go ahead and take this as the truth. Santo Chronos apparently start at $89.50.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
And the gold is 24,000.
Oh, thank God. So
thank you.
Hopefully hopefully that's good information because from what I saw, I think it said they range from 24,000 to like 76,000.
Yeah, seems excessive.
It was insane.
All right, 89 makes more sense.
But yeah, so yeah, Cartier again. So not just because of these watches, but because of what Cartier is doing. They had the buyback last year. They also redesigned the Santos and they also redesigned the Dumont as well. Which, I could take it or leave that watch, but it's still nice. I'd say I am bullish on Cartier as well.
I like these Chronos. We said we liked the new Santos before this. I think it's a positive step in the right direction. The Dumont is kind of a cool reissue. Didn't really agree with the way that strap mounts to that watch. I think it would have been nicer, similar to these with the finished lug.
Yeah, the Dumont, it does. Yeah, the way that the strap
it's a little weird,
mounts.
But we got to see it on wrist. Everything's from photos now, so we'll see. But coming out of something like this, which is probably a reasonable purchase and something to wear,
$89.50 for a Chrono.
To our segueing into our next watch, which is rather unreasonable request and a little bit ridiculous, but that's why you love them.
That's right.
Why don't you announce?
Yeah. Richard Mille did some. I don't know if you call it interesting.
Certainly,
they
different.
did some stuff. They did something. All right, we got some photos. Let's just throw those up there real quick.
You're gonna want to adjust the color on your screen. No, yeah.
When you know what these are photos we took right off their website, and it makes sense that they have neon green behind this, and then neon orange, or what do you call it? So these watches are absurd, and I think this embodies really what Richard Mille should be, which is don't take yourself too seriously, right? There you go. I think that's a cool shot. It shows them putting together one of these dials,
cool.
sticking hand-painted candy pieces onto the dial of an RM16. So what they did was they took the RM16, which is probably one of their like least tradable or least desirable cases, and they said, we're going to make this into the craziest watch that we've ever made, right? So you have
it's excessive.
well, they're called the Bonbon line, right? They're 10 new models. They have them in the tonneau shape, which are a little bit thinner, which I guess those have to be ladies' watches. What I see was like a mono pusher chrono covered in candy slices. They have the marshmallow, which we just posted a picture of. That's clearly a lady's watch.
Yeah. No doubt some guys will try and wear that, though.
Whatever, dude.
I mean, I don't know. To me, when I first saw these, I thought of the Hublot Tutti Fruttis.
Yeah.
Kind of back to like so ridiculous that it's just fun. Right. But it's an RM, so it'll sell no matter what.
$100,000 Tutti Frutti forged card. Well, it's NTPT candy watch. But the details on these watches. So it's funny because we talk about like hand finishing. So the art, which if we take a step back and we look at what Swiss watches are or luxury watches are, it's really just mechanical art, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, there are tool watches, but there are, for way less money, you can get quartz tool watches. Like we talk about dive watches, like Santos really makes the best dive watches. The reason for that is because technology has surpassed everything, right? So these are just mechanical art. Well, I think this embodies the idea of mechanical art as well as anything else. So while it's certainly doesn't have the care and seriousness of, say, like a Patek, 5270 or a Lange, what's your favorite Lange?
I would say it's probably the most sterile. Yeah.
Right. So this goes the other way, but I mean, honestly, these are all handmade as well. You have a lot of care, a lot of attention, a lot of detail put into these watches. So while I certainly will never be in a position to purchase one of these, and even if I was financially, I don't know if I would. I'd have to be there in order to decide.
I know that I wouldn't. But
I'm open
I will
to
say that
Jason.
like you have to understand that the type of guy that's going to buy this was going to buy an RM anyways, and that's the type of guy this is perfect for. So
I put it this way. We were talking about this earlier, and I feel like the person who would buy, say, the RM16 NTPT carbon, I forgot the name of this watch. Let's see if I have it here. But the one with the candy slices on the dial, the guy who would purchase that for hundreds of thousands of dollars and wear that is somebody who I'd like to meet because his sense of humor would be unbelievably fantastic. He probably has more money than he knows what to do with and the greatest sense of humor, so he's probably a lot of fun.
And the pressure of that money is just driving him crazy.
Or
he's
the
just
opposite.
looking for ways to express himself
or the
by
opposite.
wearing something like this.
Or he might be a guy who says, don't care what it costs, got to wear that because it's fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're absurd, and from a lot of the watch nerds and the let's leave it at watch nerds out there, they're hating on these watches, and while it's probably not anyone's actual taste to spend the money, it's fantastic that somebody made these, and that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's goofy for extravagance sake. The shot of them placing the markers on the dial is probably one of my favorite shots of SIHH. It's a cool shot. I like watchmaking shots, but it's pretty cool.
What's really funny is that's like totally staged, and like you cut to like some fully mechanical robot covered factory where they're just stamping them out and throwing them together. Imagine if that was the case. That would be funny.
Well, no, that would be the watches in 2 years when
that's
when
Romain
someone
Jerome,
tries to knock these off. Yeah.
Which, by the way, these are very Romain Jerome-esque, which are fun watches, but probably overpriced for what they are. But all right, so there you go. Richard Mille made some serious noise with watches that people aren't really actually going to wear, but if they do, you probably want to have a conversation with them. So, who made the biggest splash?
This is where it gets exciting.
Right. Who made the biggest splash, would you say, of SIHH 2019 so far?
I think we're about to talk about him. And
who's that?
AP.
That's right.
Audemars
Piguet. So, what did they do? Let's talk first about things that are universally liked. Royal Oak. What did they do to the new 15500? They redesigned it. So, let's play along real quick, guys. Which one is the new 15500 and which one's the old 15400?
So we should have done pull. Should have done it this or like a
This
left
or
or
that
right
for
pull.
these? Yeah, well, it's too late now, Jason.
Awesome watch.
Great ideas.
Yeah, you want to talk about, or did you want?
Yeah, let's talk about these.
Okay,
That's what we're here to do, man. So, all right. So if you haven't figured it out yet, the one on the left on your screen is going to be the new 15500. The one on the right is the old 15400. So 15400, especially in blue right now, above retail watch. It was a 17.8 retail watch, stainless steel, 41 millimeter, royal oak. Not fully in-house movement. So they redesigned this watch. They changed the proportions. They changed the movement. They changed the dial. And now they call it the 15500, and now they charge you $19,000 for it from a boutique.
It's basically just a overly refined version of the 15400. So proportions look pretty good. I
Yeah.
got to see it in person, obviously, but I like the delete of the marker next to the date window.
Okay.
I think it cleans it up a little bit. And
Mhm.
then, when we're talking about like the evolution of a design, it's all about, cleaning up the little aesthetics that make
Sure.
sense
Mhm.
in balancing the dial. So I like that quite a bit. I like the larger date window.
Sure.
I think it makes sense for a watch that's emphasized as a sport and tool kind of watch.
Makes sense.
Overall, I think it makes a lot of sense. Some of the things that we used to rag on with APs in the past were some of the movements that they chose to use in some of these pieces.
The
So
Bonbon movements
yeah,
and
for
things,
the for what you're spending and for the hype that's behind this watch, I think it's a really cool idea to get a new version of it. I don't know that I would necessarily like sell my 15400 to go find one of these 15500s, but I could see guys having both.
Yeah.
So.
And maybe different dial
overall,
colors.
yeah, dial colors are nice. Again, you got to see them in person. I assume it's the same blue and the same ruthenium, but it could have a slight different gradients.
So, there's no more black dial, I believe. I think they discontinued black dial, so they just make a silver ruthenium and blue.
Yeah.
I have to double check that. They might have discontinued the silver, but I can double check. Oh, here we go. Yes, no silver. Look at that, Jason.
Yeah, it's just ruthenium and black.
Ruthenium, yes. So you can see also the markers are fatter, a little bit more lume. So again, more sport watch. It is a little thicker, from what I understand, thicker than a Snicker. Tim likes the watch. Tim has an unbelievable hands-on review of these watches. Again, if you're just tuning in, Tim Masso,
That's
not
me.
Jason, not you, Jason.
I was not in Switzerland.
No, Tim Masso did hands-on, real-time reviews of all these watches, and he just churning out video after video, and they're all unbelievable. So if you want to know everything and anything about these watches, you're going to go to our Watchbox Studios channel and just look at the top row. You'll see all of his new videos.
How good is that OR, the rose gold?
That
looks
looks
so
beautiful.
good.
You know what, the portions, because it is a little thicker too, but I like the bezel's a little thinner, right? So the bezel was a little chunky on the 15400.
Right.
So they thinned out the bezel a little bit. They changed the proportion. So I'm really excited to see these in person. Fortunately, the only place to get these now seems like is the boutique. You have to get them direct, Jason.
Good luck with that.
Which means no discounts for the
Ready?
most part, right? And
Go.
yeah, there's no discounts on these watches, and so they should be holding lots of value if the demand holds, which seems like it will. And I'm very excited to see these. The other watch that they released is
Arguably better.
I'd say for the third watch we're going to talk about, this watch makes up for any negativity, right? And that is the new 38 millimeter Kronos. Oh God! So these things look unbelievable. This is perfect. This is literally what they needed to do. The 41 millimeter Chrono is way too big for a lot of people. It wears closer to like a 44. A 38 Chrono, this one's going to wear closer to a 40. If you watch Tim's review on it, you can see it on his wrist. It fits perfectly. I think these watches are going to be an unbelievable hit, not only in the U.S., but also I'd say Asia is perfect for these watches too, right? So these watches, I believe, are going to be tough to get. I have to assume.
Do you think? I can guarantee it.
The retail, I think, was like 23.6 from what I read, so it's just under what the retail would be for the 41s.
Yeah.
Same movements as from what the same in-house movements.
Right.
That for the watches that we're going to talk about next. But these are perfect. I love the dial colors. I love the watches. I love the idea of a 38 millimeter Chrono from AP. Just a home run with these.
Yeah, I think the watch, they hit it right on the head. The Panda dial is my favorite variation of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved the 41 Chrono.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how this wears because that watch does wear a little bit big.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is going to be perfect for a lot of people. Problem is getting one. And
it might be tough.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be tough.
Right.
And does this now become an over retail watch?
I think at first, anything that comes out from AP right now is probably going to be a bump over retail or right at retail pre-owned.
Except for the next watch.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. I think these are most likely going to wear similar to like a Speedmaster on the wrist.
Yeah, I think
like
it's gonna. I think it's gonna hit right at 40 size-wise on the wrist,
Okay.
and I think that's gonna be perfect for a lot of guys.
Mm-hmm. And then let me see here. So we have some prices here, but we're not going to go over that. So the next watch, which is very controversial, AP, who again is double middle fingers to the entire watch industry. No more authorized dealers for the most part, selling everything in-house boutique. And now they came out with what they thought would revolutionize their brand, and that is the watch that I like to call the Home Before Midnight. Code 1159. All right, so all jokes aside, first impressions of this watch were negative from a lot of people, including myself. I think that Tim broke it down best. The watch case is cool. The idea of this watch is good to get away from the Royal Oak, though we'll talk in a second about how they really didn't get away from the Royal Oak. I think the dials is where they had a misstep, but that can pretty much be easily fixed. I think out of every misstep you make on releasing a new style watch, if you do everything right but the dial doesn't work, it's something you can easily correct. Would you agree?
Right, yeah. I think that of an overall design process, that would be the easiest thing to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Engineering of a case, obviously the movement are going to be the two hardest things to fix.
Sure.
But dial is really just style aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the dial isn't so much the problem on this. It's the chapter ring on the dial. It's really, that's what catches my eye. So the outside chapter ring, for me, seems displaced from the dial. I think if it was one level entirely, the watch would be a little bit cleaner. I don't care for the lollipop secondhand. I think it makes the watch look cheap, to be quite honest. And the position of the date somehow reminds me of like a Japanese movement. So it just, those design aesthetics are weird to me.
So but
I think the case design is nice.
It's nice.
But
so that movement, I believe, is the same movement as, or no, I guess the Chrono movement's the same movement that they put in the 38 millimeter Chronos, where the date's the same place. But again, that's more of a sport watch where this is supposed to be a dress watch.
But the date window at that angle, when you have the chronograph register on the dial, it makes sense because you need to fit it in there. You need to be able to read it. But this is a wide open, like dressier watch. Mm-hmm. It just looks weird.
Yeah, I much probably would have rather liked to see it at the 6 or the 3. Also, the Arabic numerals and the font that they chose is perplexing to me.
Questionable at best.
Right. Yeah. Again, this can all easily be fixed. So that was our negative feelings about the watch. Positive feelings. So let's get to the next clip, next picture that we have. Wait. All right. So now you can see a cross section of the case. A couple things that are cool. The way that these lugs are attached to the case, they're only attached at the top end of the case. So on the bottom end, there's a space there. So these lugs can literally camfer like a half a millimeter.
Right.
But that's something, right? That's interesting design. Second thing, if you notice, looks like there's a Royal Oak in there, Jason.
Just in the mid case.
Right. So the mid case is looks like a Royal Oak bezel. So it reminds you, I guess, of AP. And if you watch some of the videos from Francois, who's basically a titan in this industry right now, if you disagree with him, it seems like you're always wrong at this point. So he's very excited about this. He said this has revolutionized the brand and is unlike anything else. While I don't know if both those statements are true, I think that it's interesting for AP. The other thing they did was, are you familiar with like the Bulova of the curve case?
Yeah.
So they did a similar tech crystal where it's I don't even know how I have the words to describe it, where it's basically flat in the middle, but it's bowed on each side.
Right.
So that's interesting, I guess. I don't know if that's going to be appreciated as much as
it's a piece that you could have seen been put out by like a few brands, and it's I'll leave it like
be positive,
that.
Stay positive there.
I think there's room for improvement. I think the dial work needs to change. Mm-hmm. If a certain Japanese brand that I really, really like that does amazing dials.
Yeah.
If we took some aesthetic from something like that. But certainly room for improvement.
Grand Seiko, you're talking about Grand Seiko. So if Grand Seiko started making dials for AP, I think this would be more of a
Imagine that watch with a snowflake dial.
Oh, dude, that would be cool. But they've left themselves room to improve.
Yeah.
Let's get the next picture up there real quick. You see a cross section of all the new models.
A whole bunch of them.
Right. So here you see the time only on the left. Then you see the chrono in blue. The blue dial is not as bad. So the worst of them is this black dial, which at this angle is readable, but in every other picture you see, live or otherwise, the black dial is absolutely unreadable. It's hard to make. Apparently, it is a black lacquer dial, which they said has like what is it? It was either 6 or 11 layers of lacquer. I'm sure it's unbelievably hard to make. People are not going to appreciate it.
Can I just, so similar to last week, Q, and I mentioned something that I saw and can't be unseen. That blue dial chronograph looks, at least from afar in that photo, looks exactly like the Calibre.
Oh, yeah, it does look a lot like a Calibre. But
so it's
what I'm doing is okay. I'm going to reserve judgment to get these watches until I get these watches on my wrist. Again, I will. So we talked about this earlier. So again, you have the Chronos. I think that the yellow, gold, black dial and like gray subdials, I think that's the most handsome out of all these watches.
Yeah.
Tourbillon's nice, I guess. Sure. But what I would have done if I was sitting in those board meetings and they're Francois banging on the desk and asking, what do? We need to revolutionize the brand and get away from the Royal Oak. We can't just be right. So if he's doing that, what I say is, we don't need round watches. Everybody makes round watches. Literally everyone does. AP is known for a Royal Oak, which is not a round watch. So what they could have done is a variation, or a variation of a watch that they already make, which is the concept. So I think that what they should have done was gone for a tonneau style watch. Obviously, these watches are very popular. The hottest watch on the planet right now are Richard Mille. They make tonneau style watches. They don't really have to compete with Richard Mille because they don't have to make $250,000 watches. The other brand that used to be very popular making tonneau style watches is Frank Mueller, which nobody's really competing with Frank Mueller because Frank Mueller doesn't compete.
Right.
So they could have, at their position, especially with their brand hype and the people at their disposal, they have some of the best people in the watch world working for them, designers and otherwise. I believe if they would have taken a scaled down version of that concept watch and they made that new watch and then decided to brand themselves as the no round watch company, because they don't make, even Millenari's, they don't make men's Millenari's anymore. No more Jules Audemars. They didn't have to go round. I feel like they went the opposite of bold, and AP, especially Royal Oaks, it just screams like a bold watch.
Right.
Again, these might do well. We have to see, what how consumers feel. But that would have been my take at say, hey, let's make that watch a tonneau style watch. It's sporty, but it's different than what we already make, and we can really brand ourselves and keep ourselves.
Well, you just gave away their next year's SIHH watch.
If they do that, I'll be stoked.
As long as they send you a check.
Nah, they can keep the check, man. Just send me a watch.
So, anyways, I feel like I think we both are gonna reserve judgment on these, but not particularly looking forward to them.
I don't know. I like to see them in hand. So I'd say within the watch industry, the watch snobs of the watch industry immediately threw up on themselves when they saw this. Customers that I talked to, or AP collectors, were not so down about these watches. So I took a step back and said, all right, I don't want to immediately hate this. Let me look at it for what it is. And I don't hate it as much as some of the other guys have.
It's almost direct parallel to something that happened in the car industry this week.
What's that?
Which is the controversial Toyota Supra
Yeah?
release.
I think I love it.
So all the purists, all the JDM guys, the Supra guys are oh my God, it's the worst thing that ever happened. They killed the Supra.
Idiots.
Well, I mean, there's something to be said. So it's underpowered. It's co-collaborated with BMW. There's half the camp is let's wait and see what it actually is, and half of it's like it's garbage, get rid of it, which is similar to this. I think there's such a refined culture and people that stick to the brand so hard.
Right.
Half of them are divided and or let's see what it actually looks like, and other people are done with it.
Careful.
But I would say just with a little bit of caution, let's wait and see what they look like.
I think that the answer should really always be reserved judgment. I think snap judgments are almost always wrong, and if they're right, you just got lucky. So like think about
it's
what
not
it is.
a life and death thing, right? It's a hobby. So if you're going to rush to a judgment on something, let it be a hobby.
That's fair.
I guess.
Right. And if it's fun for you to rush to judgment, then have fun. Don't listen to what I say.
Right.
All right, so AP probably made the most noise, especially with this code 1159, which I like to call the home before midnight.
You're going to say that again.
Catch that.
Yeah.
Let's get that catching on there. Home before midnight. Because it was kind of like a nerdy looking watch.
Did you buy that URL already?
Not yet. Hopefully somebody else did. I haven't bought any URLs in quite some time. I do own jasonmain.com, though.
No, you don't.
You want to bet?
Moving on.
So, all right. So, next brand, and I think this is our last brand that we're going to talk about today. Which is a brand that we both invest in personally. Actually, no, we got 3 or 4 more brands, right, Harrison?
We're good. Cheering.
We got probably another hour or so of this show, guys, so buckle up. So, all right. So the last brand we want to talk about is a brand that Jason and I both invest in, we both like, both know a lot about, and that's Panerai.
Yeah.
That's right. So they released some cool watches. The coolest of which, let's post now. Pull up that photo. No?
Nope, that would not be the one.
Not it. Miscue. Green. Code word green. There you go. Alrighty.
It's green.
So, it is green.
I like it.
So that is the PAM 961. And that's a special edition, limited edition of 33 pieces. And it's made of Carbotech. It's a Marina Militar. It's 47 millimeters. It's huge. And it's got green accents, Jason.
Best part about that watch is the green accents. I wish it wasn't that large. But I guess in the Carbotech material, they wear light anyhow. I think
is the
overall,
616, is that a 44 or 47? I always forget.
616 is...
The first Carbotech.
Is 47, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's 47.
You, Jason.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, this is the same as that.
Anyhow, it's green. I approve of green. I like it. I think there's some cool stories behind these pieces.
Well, so let me talk about our first impressions of when we saw these first, right? With no explanation, saw pictures. Panerai released a bunch of new Carbotechs, different dials, and the first thing I thought was, oh, Lord, Panerai decided to be Hublot.
Right.
Okay? They're going to pick a case, they're going to overdo it to death, and now Panerais are going to be worthless, and I put my head in my hands, and I wept a bit. Then I decided, well, why don't I do a little research instead of just snapping judgment here, buddy? So I read, and I found out that most of these iterations of these Panerais, or these submersibles, are basically unattainable because they're made in tiny, tiny little runs. So the green is a 33. I believe the the Mike Horn, the blue Mike Horn, which is the one that we'll talk about in a second, made out of 9 pieces or 19, something like that.
19,
Luna Rossi is not limited to a number, but it says it will be limited, which I don't even understand this. Production will be limited through the completion of the 2021 America's Cup. So I guess until that,
they'll make as many as they want until they don't make them anymore.
Okay, all right.
Which is
again, so this is interesting. So let's take a step back and ask ourselves, why are they doing this, and what's the new direction for Panerai, and how is this? Why is there a new direction for Panerai?
Sure.
Jason, you might have a little insight on this.
Yeah. Well, first, do you want to touch on what the attraction to the 961 and some of these pieces are?
Let's talk first about who. Yeah. I mean, who's in charge of this now?
Jean-Marc.
Right.
Who
JMP.
Who you guys may know, Roger Dubuis. Is now running
Panerai.
So he's now running Panerai and is known for. I happen to get to go on a Lamborghini expedition.
Was it last year?
Last year, where we went out to California and drove Lamborghinis around the racetrack like crazy people, and it was fantastic. But in that group of people was high-end customers, friends of the brand. It was a outreach program, and really what it is driving the luxury experience past the goods, which is something that Jean-Marc is known for, something that he preaches, the experience. And while the watch may not be worth, the limited edition $39,900 price, to some people, that experience that they get when they do the watch is probably worth half of that.
Well, so JMP, his sales style, or his idea of moving luxury products, is with an experiential sale.
Right.
So what he did was, if you bought one of these Lamborghini Roger Dubuis, you were invited to come drive Lamborghinis with professional drivers in California. So it's a once in a lifetime, or like a very special experience that you can only get there, and only if you have the watch.
Right.
So that's what he brought to Panerai, which this is very interesting because Panerai being a tool watch, a dive watch, and you're just making the same models over and over again, and really, it's like myself and like 5 other people can really identify all these models because they all look very similar. And if you show somebody a Panerai for the first time, and you show them a different Panerai from the first time, they're going to say those are two of the same watches. So to set everything apart, he's saying, all right, well, you can buy the normal, which is, let's just throw up the first picture with the black and white dial, the new Marina Militaire.
Yeah, it's the 979.
Okay, so the 979. So this is the regular production run of the new Marina Militaire, the full Carbotech with that dial, 47 millimeters. So you can buy that. It's $19,000 retail. Whether we think it's worth $19,000, we'll find out. Okay. If you want the one with the green, let's change that picture. You will have to pay $39,900, but you also get a, which one? Shoot, man, I can't remember what the experience is with this, but you basically get to go on an excursion with some sort of amazing adventure. So they did the same thing with the Luna Rossi. You get to dive with that's a sail racing team. So you get to do a circuit with them. The new Mike Horn, which you used to have to buy a Mike Horn, and you say, okay, now I get to own a Mike Horn. So you have the one with the green dial, or the green loom is just the regular one. I don't have price points for these. I don't think I do. But so that's like the regular edition. Then you have a very, very limited, it's either 9 or 19, I read, pieces made with the blue loom, and now you get to go with Mike Horn to the Polar ice cap.
That one's 19 pieces.
19 pieces, the blue. So you buy the watch, you get an experience. What I think is cool about this is that, number one, those watches probably won't trade. If you go on an expedition with Mike Horn after with
that watch on your wrist,
now what he's doing is he's forcing some sentimental value onto a watch.
Right.
And those are the watches that people keep, right? So if he doesn't want people just trading his watches willy-nilly and killing the market value, he wants them to keep it.
Sure.
He's forcing an experience with the watch, which I think is very smart and it's interesting. I don't know how it's going to affect the value of the watches that are not limited. But I think these are all very cool. Do I think that he should have released a bunch of 47 millimeter submersibles? I would have to say I don't think so. I think if he would have done a full line of 42 millimeter submersibles, which he did, they also did with the 683, which looks beautiful. The 42s are perfect. I think the 47s, their time has gone and passed. But being in Carbotech and titanium, or they call this like, is it trash-tanium or something? What do they call it?
It's essentially recycled titanium, right?
Right,
Repurposed titanium.
Yeah.
I like the design aesthetic for the the horns. I like the bezel. It's a little Yachtmaster-ish.
Yeah.
But I like the design because it's different. It sets itself apart. I don't know if I love the printing on the crystal for the Panerai and the submersible notation, but
you'll see that in Tim's video that the word Panerai submersible and automatic 300M is laser etched onto the crystal, so it casts a shadow and it moves. It's interesting. It's new for Panerai.
We've seen other watch brands do it. It's
not my favorite.
Universally loved. I do like the straps on the Mike Horns. I think those are pretty cool.
Oh, those are made out of
they're recycled as well.
Trash as well.
Yeah.
But listen, man, you got to upcycle.
Listen, your Panerai came out trash from the bottom of the ocean too.
I literally, mine. Yeah. These are repurposed trash. Mine is actual trash, and I love it. I love it dearly. I was looking at that in my watch box the other day. I'm obsessed with that watch.
I think overall, besides the fact that they're 47 millimeters, the new direction, the creating the experience, the making them super uber limited, right, with pieces that are double digits as opposed to 1,500 or 2,000 pieces,
right?
Makes them cool. Makes it a story watch. Makes it a little bit more desirable. Which is only going to raise all boats for Panerai. So
it seems like it.
We'll see.
So yeah, I think that's an interesting direction. You notice that they didn't reintroduce like some old Panerai, which is what Panerai's been doing for the last 10 years. So I wonder how it's going to go if they're looking towards modern technology, and like I wonder if you're going to see some very useful dive complications or some things like that that are going to come out of like focus on technology as opposed to its heritage. I think a mix of that is probably good, but I mean, like how many different iterations can you make of a Luminor? Well, they're figuring it out. It seems like.
Well, yeah. Anyhow, for Panerai, if we're gonna stick to the rating system, I think I would say 2 thumbs up on these guys.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So are we bullish on every brand that we've talked about so far? Oh, we're just whores, man. I can't believe all these brands are paying us to pretend like we like them.
You're getting paid? All right, we're gonna have to renegotiate my contract.
All right, guys. So that's our recap of SIHH 2019. There's other brands that we didn't talk about. IWC Parmigiani made a cool watch that I like. We didn't
Hermes
talk about
did the
it.
Double Moon, which I thought was
Hermes
cool.
made a watch that I would buy for a fraction
Less
of
money,
the
yeah.
retail. But I think there's some exciting things that are coming out of the watch world. I think Basel is going to be so unbelievably exciting for the watch world because we're going to see what Rolexes get discontinued.
And on that note,
all right, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed sitting with us
tonight was fun.
For me, it was.
I thought it was cool.
I wonder for the viewing public. I don't know. Yes, we're finished here, guys. Go ahead, please subscribe. We have like how many? 66,000 subscribers now, right? When are we gonna get to 100,000? Should we buy some? You want to buy some subscribers? I heard you can. There's some Brazilian websites you can just buy subscribers, man. You make yourself look like you're super popular. There's some other brands that I know of that have done that. Yeah, they have many more subscribers than we do. Most of them are bought from Brazilian websites. All right. Well, so subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, on Instagram. Also, go Chiefs. F the Patriots. F Tom Brady. You suck, bro. You heard me here. You suck, dude. That's right. You're no good. Just lose and retire already.
Why are you still letting this guy go?